We are live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 144, around the world at myjoyonline.com and on your digital TV because we are free to air. Now, you may have left home this morning with a promise to your family to return. Well, for 771 people who left home between January and March this year, they could not keep that promise. They were killed in motor accidents. That's why JoyNews, together with the National Road Safety Authority, has for over a year now been preaching safety on our roads, and this has led to our latest hotline documentary, Crashed, produced by Seth Kwame Boateng.
Not all people who died from road traffic accident got their families to even hear about the unfortunate incident or death. In various mortuaries across the country, there are such bodies there waiting for families to reclaim them. The Kwamfonochi Teaching Hospital mortuary is one of them. This part of the hospital is undoubtedly the quietest. Those autopsies have been done on them already, have been tagged and lie on an aluminium trolley placed inside the refrigerated body store. In another room behind me are other lifeless bodies on embalming tables. Some have been opened up already for autopsy. There are others, however, waiting to be investigated. An accident body is one of them. This middle-aged lifeless man got severely injured in the accident that brought him here. His broken bones are all sticking out. Dr. Ernest J., head of the hospital's pathology directorate, sees such bodies on a weekly basis.
Every year we bury not less than 4 or 5 individuals who have not been identified, and these are usually road traffic crashes related. When we have kept the body for sometimes as long as 1 year and there's no one showing up, the necessary protocols are observed, and then these bodies are buried when we are doing mass burials.
So that's an excerpt of our latest hotline documentary, really touching details there, and you will see more of this when that is aired at 8 p.m. later today. But let's have a graphic representation of the country's accident figures between January and February 2021. Now, the details from the Ghana Police Service accident report January to February 2021. 517 persons were killed. So there you have a regional distribution. In the Greater Accra region, we had 89, Ashanti region recording the highest, 108, followed by the Eastern region, 91. We have Central, 29, Western, 30, Volta, 17, Northern, 10, Upper West, 9, Upper East, 26, Bono, 15, Bono East, 27, Ahafo 10, Oti 8, Savannah 33, Western North 13, and the last one is the Northeast, which I think is 2. And 2021 accident report there, still giving you details of that. There were 2,560 cases reported. 1,581 of them were commercial cases. Of all the figures reported, 974 of them had motorcycles involved. There were 2,766 pedestrian knockdowns, and this is just between January and February this year, according to the Ghana Police Service. Well, there's an updated figure from the earlier one I brought you. Now, between January and March, that figure has increased. 771 people have lost their lives through road traffic accidents. And there you have the fatalities, and this is 2015 to 2020, okay? And then these numbers are really high, and that's why, together with the Road Safety Authority, we are preaching safety on our roads. As you can see, it has increased over time from 2015 all the way to 2020. And really disturbing figures there. Well, speaking earlier on the AM show, Dr. Frederick Kwarting, head of emergency at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, revealed the facility receives on average 10 accident cases daily.
When it comes to trauma, orthopedic, and accident cases, we receive an average of 10 accident victims, especially those needing admissions on the day. In every day, we have an average of 10, and in most cases, we have about 3-4 of them being Okada injuries, and then the remaining 60 vehicle accidents. And a significant number of them are bad injuries, very serious ones that may have to be in the hospital for about 3 or 4 weeks. And in some cases, especially the Okada injuries, the injuries are that bad that to save the patient's life, we may have to actually even amputate their limbs, because sometimes they come in with limbs that have been beyond service. You see, the cases are of various types. You have some that are brought in with head injuries, some that are brought in with multiple injuries, a number of them have broken limbs. And we have a fairly good system in place that takes care of them with a significant amount of success. But it is a big source of worry, the number of cases that we see on a daily basis at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Well, the full documentary Crushed will be premiered to a select audience at 4 p.m. today at the auditorium of the Ghana Shippers Authority. But at 8 p.m., you'll also get the opportunity to see that full documentary here on the JoyNews channel. Do make a date with us. Away from that, JoyNews is learning residents are fleeing the northeast region town of Tripoli, which has seen several bloody clashes recently. The latest developments follow renewed tensions there. The chief of Wenchike, the community in Tripoli, which is once more a center of heavy military deployment, appealed for personal protection for himself and his palace over the weekend. The renewed fears of violence in Tripoli following his disputed enskinment. Just last month, one person was shot dead and several houses were burned in renewed clashes. The latest tension has compelled the Regional Security Council to deploy heavy security to the community. Ilyasu Tanko is our correspondent in the Northeast region, and he joins us via Zoom. Hello, Ilyasu. What is the security presence like in the area this morning?
Well, there is heavy security presence in the Wenchike community. This morning, we have been able to speak to some residents in the Wenchike community, which has experienced heightened tension starting from last Thursday, and the community virtually looks very deserted. We have been able to go through the town. Many people are still decided to stay indoors. We also understand that several others have also fled the community. But as I speak to you now, there's heavy military joint security presence in that particular community. But the chief in the community continued to call on the Regional Security Council to rescind their decision to withdraw the security from his palace. He's asking the Security Council to deploy some of these security forces who are currently in the community to come to his palace and provide him personal security, because according to him, members of his rival faction are fleeing the community. He cannot explain what is the motive behind the mass exodus of the people from the community. And so he's asking the security not only to patrol the town, but to also be present at his palace in Wenchike.
This leads me to my next question. There's heavy police and military presence in the area, yet residents are fleeing. Did they tell you why?
Yes, and that is more reason that the chief himself is asking for security at his palace. Those that are fleeing are only members of the rival faction who are very peeved at the escapement of Alhaji Abubakar Awofo as the chief. Mind you, they have also laid computing claim to the Wenchike throne, and they had, attempted to stop the escapement of Alhaji Abubakar Awofo as the new chief of the community. The Security Council also got involved to stop the escapement. We understand on Friday, a day before this particular incident, the Northeast Regional Minister himself traveled to Yendi to meet with the overlord of the Dagon in an attempt to stop the escapement of Alhaji Awofo as the new chief of the Wenchike community. The Yana, as we understand, did not heed to this particular advice. And as I speak to you now, despite the presence of the security, members of the Jabu, rival faction continue to leave the town. Nobody knows. There have not been any explanation why, despite the presence of the security, they are leaving. And so the chief is asking for security for himself.
All right. You spoke to DCOP Kojo Nchitebi. He is the Northeast Regional Police Commander. What did he say?
Well, he said as a result of the tension, security had to be tightened in the area. As a result, massive security forces have been sent to the area to ensure there's no violence.
All right, so this conflict has been reported over the weekend. Have we had a response from Diana's palace?
Not at all. There have not been a response from the Yana's palace. Like I said, the regional minister and some top members of the Regional Security Council, based on the advice, recommendation from the security forces on the ground, had went to the overlord of Dagon in attempt to persuade him to stop the escapement, and that did not yield any results. So since the escapement, the Yana's palace have not spoken. We do know that after the escapement, according to the chief, the Regional Security Council refused to give him security to bring him from Yendi to the Wenchike community. Subsequently, he was, according to him, security from his palace or in his palace was subsequently withdrawn. Since this particular development, we have not had any word from the Gbewa palace or the Yana himself directly.
Before you leave us, paint a picture to us about how schools, hospitals, and other basic social amenities have been affected. Too bad it appears we've lost Ilyasu there. Ilyasu, if you can hear me, just in wrapping up this conversation, share with us how school children, market women, and other social services have been affected. Unfortunately, we lost him there. Too bad, but we will continue following up on this story in the Triponi district as we report heavy security presence in the area and residents fleeing the area due to a chieftaincy dispute. Watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. Do stay with us. We've got more right after this. Thank you for staying on the program. Now, a group of traders operating along pavements in the Central Business District of Kumasi are up against the Metropolitan Assembly over what they describe as gross disrespect and breach of agreement. The United Petty Traders Association claims its members have come under attack and harassment by city guards despite an agreement with the KMA. The group has petitioned the Ashanti Regional Minister over the matter.
The traders claim that Kumasi Mayor Osei Sibianchi facilitated a trip to Accra last year to learn proper ways of doing business on the pavement. They have since been operating in accordance with best practices. Vice Chairman of the United Petty Traders Association, Emmanuel Amoa, however, laments KMA's breach of agreement.
Last year, November 2020,
the mayor sent us to Accra last year to replicate the practices done there for our trade. Now Metro Guards come in his name to sack us from the pavement. Chairman of the group, Kwabna Frimpong, says the traders feel disrespected.
January 15th to out now.
Traders on the pavement have been harassed since January. The assembly does not inform the leaders here on any move they make. Even with decongestion, they do not plan with us, but have put us in much discomfort. Some of the aggrieved traders spoke to JoyNews.
I have been left stranded in the market since morning. Anytime they come to seize our goods, we pay money before they are released.
They bypass those and other areas anytime they come to seize goods, but always harass us. Is this the only place for decongestion?
We have incurred so much loss.
Public Relations Officer for KMA, Efia Konedu, has responded to their claims.
The assembly, yes, they sponsor them to go and see with the intention that they are going to learn new things, add it to themselves, so that when they come, they'll go strictly by what they learned. And so they themselves told the assembly that by 10th of January this year, they were going to leave and then move to their designated places. And so I don't see why they will turn around and say that the assembly has given the place to them to trade forever. It is never true.
El Kumalik's report for JoyNews, Kumasi.
Now, for some, riding a motorbike creates a sense of freedom that is hard to replicate. While motorbikes and cars are reliable means of transportation, many would argue that a motorbike provides certain advantages. But is it poverty or a matter of choice that influences the use of motorbikes? JoyNews' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin engaged some residents of Tamale, the northern region capital, where the use of motorbikes is a way of life.
Because it's faster than cars. That's why we are using it. For motorbike, it's not because of poverty, because sometimes if you can just wake up in the morning and your bike will be in problem, you have to send it to mechanic for them to repair it. If you don't have money, can you repair it?
Tamale here, the cheapest means of transport is the motorbike, which is affordable.
You see, if you take a data collection of people who use motorbikes, you see that you can say 70% of those bikes are new bikes. Where do they get the money to buy new bikes if they are not rich? A poor person can buy a motorbike actually, because the bikes are expensive. 45 million. Can a poor person get 45 million?
It is the most convenient and easiest means of transport in this part of the country. Many people prefer the motorbike to a car, and even those who have cars prefer to have motorbikes in addition.
Motorbikes are extremely fuel efficient. Users spend less money on petrol compared to cars.
In terms of fueling it and then maybe servicing it, the auto parts, comparatively, it is cheaper with a motorbike as compared to cars.
When it comes to the number of kilometers per liter of petrol, motorbikes outperform vehicles. Riding a bike requires much more focus and concentration.
My first motorbike was inherited from my father. That was YB100. So I bought my own Mapuka, which was the low gear type. And until when this one comes, and very functional as compared to the low gear and co. So I bought this one. That was about 1 year ago. That's 4,700. And currently, when you want to buy, you buy it 5,500. It's not even there. Yes, this one is very competitive in the market.
When you work and get like 2,000, 2,500 or get into 3,000 and then you acquire your own motorbike, you can go at any place and then you can even buy a full 3 Ghana cedi or 5 Ghana cedi and you can use it almost like 2 or 3 days.
Motorbike riders spend less time in traffic, cause less congestion, less dangerous to third parties, and take up less parking space. Here in Tamale, motorbike riders say their machines make them come alive and be in touch with the world.
The motorbike is not it's part of us. That's our main means of transport. So if somebody should come and steal my motorbike, trust me, I would cry. Though I wouldn't cry physically, but within me, I would cry a lot.
Motorbike is mostly preferred here because with the motorbike, you can enter any corner at all. Wherever you want to go, it's easier for you to go with your motorbike.
For this reason, those who can afford cars also prefer the motorbike. It is therefore not a matter of poverty, but choice in using motorbikes.
Not true. A lot of the people that use the motorbikes are even the rich people. Why? Because they use the motor 1 year, they dispose of it, and they buy another one. The motors are very expensive, especially if you see the new ones that have come, Dash 5. I think it's approaching 50 million now. It's quite expensive, and most of the people that use it are richer than the ones that use cars. Yes, I have a bike too sometimes when I feel I'm going to a dense area, like the area where there's a lot of traffic. The motor is easier to use.
I have a friend. She's a girl, but she has a car and own a motorbike too. Sometimes she said their car is wasting time. When you get to traffic, it will go slow, you cannot dodge. But for motorbike, when you come and it is traffic, you can use the bike and corner and then you just go. That's why.
For instance, we have a motorbike we call Dash 8. Dash 8. 125-8. That is mostly used by the farmers and then the Okada people. Within this month, early this month, it was around 4,800. Currently, as I speak, it's 5,500.
In towns like Tamale, where public transport is unreliable, motorbikes offer an affordable way to get around. It is very dangerous and there are far too many preventable deaths. It is estimated that helmets are 37% and 41% effective in preventing fatal injuries to motorbike riders and passengers respectively. This means that for every 100 riders without helmet killed in accidents, 37 riders and 41 passengers would have been saved if all 100 had worn helmets. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
The bet on accident statistics there. Reminder for you to join us at 8 p.m. this evening when we bring you Crushed, our latest hotline documentary. There's more on News Desk right after these messages. Do stay. Glad you could stay on the program. Let's do some politics now. The General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Esiedun-Ketia, is challenging the majority leader to point him to the law barring him from holding a position on the Parliamentary Service Board. Osei Mensah Bonsu accused the NDC's General Secretary of turning Parliament into an extension of his party.
What was NDC before Bagbin came? What was Parliament before Bagbin came? If you are talking about turning something into another state, you should be interested in knowing the original state of that institution. Before Bagbin came, what was Parliament? Was it an enclave of MPP?
Was it?
And I'm asking him, he should be answering that question because the Speaker was MPP. The former members of Parliament who should serve on the Parliamentary Board were from MPP leadership. Okay? And I don't want to believe that the workers and the advisors of the Speaker at that time were CPP. You understand? So if they were all MPP at that time, And now you have another speaker. I am wondering whether Mr. Chairman Sambonsu was expecting Bagbin to appoint his opponents to advise him. You are talking about advisors. People choose their advisors. How come that? Do you know that the Council of State is there to advise the president? The immediate, the current Council of State, it was constituted some 1 month ago. Mention one person who was nominated from NDC. Was there any one of them? The president was choosing his advisors, so he decided to choose MPP people. So I'm worried about people who cannot use parity of reasoning. Okay, they when something suits them, they argue in a certain way. They argue that this paper is white. Then the next day, the same people will be arguing that this paper is black or blue. That is not the way to build credibility. Okay? So I didn't expect Chairman Sambonsu, who was all over the place. When we were accusing the president of nepotism in his appointment and so on, Chairman Sam was all over the place saying that, did we expect the president to appoint his enemies as ministers? So what has changed? Don't expect to appoint his enemies as ministers and his advisors. Why do you want to expect Bagbin to appoint his enemies or opponents as his advisors?
But for him, as a sitting general secretary,
yes,
to be appointed onto that board, for him, it poses a certain form of danger for Parliament. At least there are other...
Who said that Parliament is run on the fears of Chairman Sambonsu? Parliament is run according to the law. You are having their copies of the standing order. He should be quoting and telling us maybe the Constitution is against this, maybe the standing orders is against this. But what he's saying, he's not communicating to anybody. He's just expressing his fears. But unfortunately, Parliament is not run on the basis of the fears of Chairman Sambonsu. It's run on the laws. It's run on the laws.
Okay, so it's okay because you're a former MP.
Don't ask me, go and ask Bagbin.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't appoint myself. You understand? So you go and ask the person who took the decision whether his decision was founded on law or was not founded on law. I don't have any business answering. It's like if I were to appear before appointments committee and you are asking me why the president decided to appoint me and not another person else. How would I know how the president was thinking when he decided to settle on me? Okay, so, but the good thing I like about the interview is that at least he recognizes my level of intelligence. He recognizes my experience because I was in Parliament 4 years before he came, and I did 12 years in Parliament. People who have done 8 years in Parliament have served on the Parliamentary Service Board. I've been 12 years in Parliament. I've been in the front bench of Parliament, front bench in government in Parliament, back bench in government in Parliament, front bench in opposition in Parliament, back bench in opposition in Parliament, and I have chaired several parliamentary meetings, and I have chaired boards of state institutions. So I don't know what else. I don't know what else they expect. But the good thing about the interview is that, well, as I've said, it came to clear the air, you know, about some orchestrations that were cooking, that maybe Asiedu Nketia has changed this position for you know, the approval of ministers and so on. To tell you what, this appointment was offered to me as far back as January. Okay.
Before the nomination of ministers?
Before the nomination of ministers, it was offered to me as far back January. Because Parliament and its institutions had to be constituted to prepare to receive and vet ministers. So it was around that time that this appointment was offered to me. And immediately it came, I responded and gave my consent.
Okay.
Then there was some lacuna for a very long time. I went to ask what was happening. And I was told that MPP was objecting to that appointment. So that was why it was delayed.
What reason were they given for rejection of the appointment?
And that was on The Probe. You can watch the full edition on our YouTube channel. This is News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedunansa. When I come back today, we are flipping the script. George Addo Jr. is here. We'll be doing sports next. Well, before I bring you business news, let's bring you an update at our borders. This morning, officials of the Ghana Immigration Service are on high alert across the country's borders. Its top hierarchy has been alarmed at the possibility of some 1,800 convicts who broke jail in Nigeria crossing into Ghana to escape recapture. The Comptroller General has directed all regional commanders to be on the lookout for the convicts. Nigerian officials have launched a massive international manhunt for the convicts who escaped from the Owerri Custodial Center in early April. Now, let's get more on this from a journalist in Nigeria, currently in that town, Owerri. Solomon Onu, thank you so much for joining the program. Let's start off from the very basic. What have investigators been able to gather about what led to the prison break?
Okay, good morning, and thank you for having me. It's not really clear what what we do here is that unknown gunmen were said to be the ones that orchestrated the attack. But what really bubbles our mind is that this correctional facility that's new to the new baptismal name, the new moniker of our prison service in Nigeria, is located very close proximity to the seat of power. That's the government house of Imo State, Owerri. Imo State is home to the great legendary footballer Kanu Angwa, who was raised right here in Owerri. Is also home to Kelechi Iheanacho, the Leicester City striker. That is to put it into perspective. We also have a couple of guys who are also from the state that has its capital in Owerri, the likes of Emmanuel Ebenike, the top scorer of the African Cup of Nations in 2013 in South Africa. So moving on, we were really appalled that such an attack could be pulled up without stiff resistance from the security paraphernalia. Taking into consideration the proximity of the correctional center or the prison service to the government house, and of course the central police station, and very close to the police station is an office of the secret police, that is the DSS. They used to be called Secret Service. They now call them the DSS, Department of State Security, the DSS. They also have a branch very close to the Central Police Station. So now the Central Police Station is home to so many security tactical units like the anti-kidnapping, anti-cultism, and anti-one of the. So you've got a couple of tact units in the Central Police Station. You also have a branch of the secret police, and then the correctional service gets hit. Later on, there were reports in the Nigerian press that it seemed that 72 hours before the attack happened, that members of the secret service really handed out an information to the other security paraphernalia that something was about to happen, that this was an accident waiting to happen, but maybe some people didn't take it seriously. They didn't come out that it was a town that was renowned for enjoyment. In fact, the largest number of hotels maybe in southern Nigeria. Apart from Lagos, you know that it's the conventional center is actually domiciled in Owerri. So this is a town where once it gets to 6, 7, 8, everyone is in a pub, and unwinding, having fun. You've got beautiful ladies. So with that aura, maybe some people didn't take it seriously that something of this nature was going to happen. But it did happen, and it left us with that, wow.
Okay.
This is really happening.
Yeah. But Solomon, the police has accused the banned separatist group Indigenous people of Biafra of carrying out the attack. The group has denied its involvement. But tell us what has changed in the community since this incident.
What has changed is that a couple of parents have actually advised their wards to please make sure they don't keep late night. So gradually, the nightlife culture of the town is gradually waning. So those of them that actually feed off night crawlers no longer get as much patronage like they used to get in the past. A lot of people, a lot of wives will definitely beckon on their husbands once it's 6, 7. You see phones ringing at different spots. Well, what are you doing? Why not come back? What is happening? Come back. Haven't you heard about what is happening in town? So many people are apprehensive that some of these guys that are on the news might be around the society to cause mayhem or not. Now, let me give you a development story. Now, one of these guys that got out of incarceration, according to reports, went back home, dropped his bags, and headed in the direction of a family in which had had a dispute with him, and that dispute landed him in prison, and went there to go threaten them. Now, according to reports from the Punch newspapers in Nigeria, he went threatening them, and by the time he started his enterprise, members of that family quickly gathered, beat him up into a pub, and burnt him alive to exterminate that threat permanently. And it happened in a village outside the town. That's like 20, 30 minutes off the main capital city of Owerri. So that was a pointer. And there have been some unconfirmed reports. There's something we call POS, where the banks in Nigeria are trying to force us to actually do a cashless stuff. So not many people get into the bank, and before you get into the banking hall, you spend hours. And so there are these guys that use some machines with your ATM cards, and they give you back money and they give you a charge. Now there are some reports that those guys have been under attack. A couple of them have been under attack in some remote areas in the suburb around the city of Owerri. That sometimes they finish the business and you see somebody pop up to try to collect all the money under gunpoint or just harass them, basically to try to get some money. So those are the unconfirmed. But the one we can confirm is that of the guy that was burnt alive, a prisoner who came back from prison and decided he will go and threaten the family who actually got him into prison in the first place. And he was unfortunate. By the time he was doing it, the kinsmen of these individuals were around, and in their numbers, it was even on their market day, so the market was full. You had many people around, so they quickly rushed out. Maybe someone raised the false alarm, and we say jungle justice was passed out on this individual.
All right, Solomon, we'll leave it here for now, but we'll stay in touch for any development on this issue, even as our immigration service tell us that they are working with their Nigerian counterparts to prevent the entry of some of these convicts who escaped prison early in April this year in Owerri in Nigeria. This is News Desk. Coming up shortly is Business Tuesday.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The International Monetary Fund has classified Ghana as low-income developing country in its April 2021 fiscal monitor. 13 African countries were, however, ranked as emerging and middle-income economies. Charles Nixon Yabua has been looking through the classifications and reports.
To the fund's latest fiscal monitor, the country is no more recognized as a middle-income economy, despite achieving that status in 2009. However, countries such as Angola, Gabon, Swaziland, and Namibia, which Ghana is said to be doing better than, are classified as emerging and middle-income economies by the Bretton Woods institution. It appears the COVID-19 pandemic had been unfavorable to the country, impacting negatively on her finances. Ghana's positioning may be due to the poor state of its fiscal economy, which required tougher measures going forward in order to bounce back to a better state. The budget deficit to gross domestic product of 11.7% is a major worry. Additionally, the rising debt, which the nation will spend about 46% of its revenue to pay investors this year, is also a headache to managers of the Ghanaian economy. For now, all eyes will be on the managers of the economy on how to reposition and get the country back to its former levels.
Now, players in the aquaculture sector here in Ghana are making a push to participate in the continental free trade area. They are therefore asking government to support by making the sector a priority in order to make them competitive. Earlier, I spoke with Research Director of the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana, Dr. Lawe Tete, who says the industry has not been fully tapped, including value addition.
At the moment, all I know is we have a few businesses that smoke and also dry some of our fishes here, the tilapia and the catfish, for export. But that is all I know for now. But we can do other things, like, as I said, canning, and exporting now. So
it appears there's a lot to be explored in that space as well. I want to ask you about government policy for the aquaculture sector. I'm reading a document where it says that government has placed aquaculture as one of the top priorities in the country's development agenda. Do you feel that support? Do you feel that agenda being set?
At the moment, I wouldn't say we are seeing that. We have to be honest. We know government is trying, but as we always say in Ghana, there's still more room for improvement. Our sector hasn't really received the needed attention, not just from the current administration, but even previous administrations. It's been many years since we've been asking previous governments and even the current government to give us some exemptions, and we are yet to receive them. So it's not just about maybe one administration or the other, but as a whole, we haven't received much support. And we believe it's an area that can bring the country a lot of foreign exchange. And it can also help us create more jobs, especially as we are battling with high, unemployment rates in the country. So we are asking the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development to partner with other stakeholders like the Chamber of Aquaculture to find ways and means to help the sector to develop and grow, because we believe there is a lot we can do. At the moment, we have not even addressed about 10% of our challenges.
Wow.
We have a lot of issues that we need to address. Okay, high cost of production, diseases, regulation, infiltration of foreign, fishes into our waters, smuggling of fishes from other countries to this place. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot.
So, all right, that's your business update for this morning. My name is Daryl Kwao. Handing you back to Venice.
Thank you, Daryl Kwao, there with business. That'll be it for this edition of News Desk. But before I go, let me give you reason to stay on. Up next is JoyNews Interactive with Mapito Sibidi. And today she's interacting with LK, a singer. And you know how it goes. You definitely will get some relaxing music to go along the day. And don't forget, later today at 8 p.m. we are premiering Crashed. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. That'll be it. I'm Bernice Abubedulansa from my team and myself. We wish you the best of the rest of the day. Take care.